Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming, and we're a pleasure to have you here with us
Pleasure
at
to be
the
here,
Berlin
thank you.
Film Festival. Maybe we can just kick off with a brief intro to Christy. For people who haven't seen the film yet,
Yep.
what can they expect?
Well, Christy is a drama, kind of a social realism drama about a foster kid who gets kicked out of his foster home and goes back to live with his brother temporarily until they find him a new home. And while he's there, he kind of starts to find his place in the world with the help of the community, friends, family. And so it's a story about community and how community can help to heal, I guess. It's set in Cork. That's an important one.
And casting your mind back, I guess I know it began life as a short, but before you even began that film, what were the roots of the story? What inspired you to tell it?
Well, me and the writer, Alan O'Gorman, we grew up together. We played football together. And on our football team, there was a lot of kids like Christy, kids who came from a similar area. It's kind of quite a working class area. And kids who came from similar backgrounds to Christy, like foster kids and other similar backgrounds like that. And so they had it tough, but they always had such big hearts. And the coaches on our team, Alan's dad being one of them, was always, they were just maybe beyond coaches. They were almost like father figures and male role models to these lads. I say that was, thinking about it only recently, I say that was probably the root of the story. And we always wanted to do a story based on those sort of lads we played with. So that's what started it. And there was a few other things down the road as well.
And when was the moment where you decided to take the short and extend it into a feature? And, you know, what are some of the amazing opportunities from that, but maybe also the challenges?
We actually started writing it as a feature and didn't know what we were doing. It was all over the place and we had to park it. But in the middle of those ideas was the short film. So we went and made the short film and then we met the cast. And I think the cast just inspired us so much that we said, oh, we can expand this world now. And the feature then started to make more sense. We had characters to kind of write for, and it started to write itself then. And I think when people saw the short, they kind of got excited to make it too. And so we got development and stuff. It all started to spiral and grow. But it was a joy, once we, being able to write for those people made life so easy. You're not just imagining a character from thin air, you're you're friends with this kid now, and they're hilarious, but they've got stories or their friends have stories, and there was a lot to draw on, and it just kind of really, I'd say it wrote itself. It didn't do as hard to write. Alan would be like, what are you saying? But it certainly gave us a lot to draw on, yeah.
And obviously right at the centre of it, this incredible actor, Danny Powell, and obviously I guess because you'd already worked on the short together, kind of already fleshed out that character. But I guess having the chance to work with him, kind of a deeper level, making the feature, what was that experience like and seeing this performance come to life?
Incredible, because when we cast the short film, he wasn't originally supposed to be Christy, and the actor who was supposed to be Christy dropped out 2 days before. And I remember saying to Danny, would you be Christy? And he says, I'll be whoever you want me to be by. Because he'd never acted before. And his audition tape was good, but it wasn't the Christy we see now. And 2 days later, and I remember he was working at night, so he had no sleep. And he was running on Monster energy drinks. And he just transformed into this incredible, nuanced actor who can show vulnerability, but also show this kind of tough alpha kind of facade that maybe kind of leaves the audience they might judge him when they first see him, but then he can be so vulnerable in the next scene. He's incredible, and you never have to over-explain everything. He just is such a good listener, and he's a dream to work with. What a talent. I don't know, what a natural talent. He's the sort of actor that actors who've trained for years envy, he just has it, and what a kid.
And I guess also that feeling of authenticity comes from the fact that a lot of the rest of the cast as well are from, this community centre that you've got there in Cork.
From the same community.
Kind of from that community. So is that part of making sure that it felt really, really authentic?
Oh, it had to feel authentic. I think this film will be a success first if the people from that area find it authentic. If it's authentic to them, it's authentic to everybody, you can't mess with that. So yeah, and to do that, I just had to kind of immerse myself into that community. When I say have to, it was an absolute joy. I wanted to be a part of them. And during COVID, we did just little improv workshops over Zoom and made music videos for them and just went up there to hang out all the time. And I just became part of their family. Like, when I say they, it's the Cabin Studios up there. It's literally a porta cabin up in the north side that teaches kids how to make hip hop. That's how it started. And now they act. There's so much other things they do, but it's such a safe space for those kids, and the confidence they give each other is just incredible. And just how lovely and sincere and funny and charming they all are. But then they come from like backgrounds that are kind of, some of them are just such tough backgrounds. It's kind of unbelievable they are how they are, but I think they are because they have this club, this community. And it was so important to me to bottle the tone of that place in this film. Like that's what I wanted to give the world. That's what I wanted to show people, and the importance of how places like this, how community can help people to heal. So yeah, authenticity is everything.
Well, I was going to also ask about the tone, because it's true sometimes with more kind of social realist films, you can go down sort of very serious, very earnest route. But there are these sort of moments of comedy, there's these witty lines. There's also a sense of hope and positivity that certainly runs through, he's almost at this crossroads, isn't he? And sort of seeing that other side, okay, you don't have to go down this darker road. So is it really important to have that running through the film?
But that's the real world, though. Like, it's like, I think it would just be wrong for someone to make a film like this that's, just plays into the seriousness. Oh, it's about a foster kid and they're grappling with what's going to happen to him, his background and stuff like that. Your tendency, being a filmmaker from a middle-class background, is to be like, oh, these people must be sad and stressed or whatever. But then you meet kids from up there who've been through this sort of stuff, and they're the most hilarious and funny and charming kids ever. And you start to go, hold on a second, it's like it would be a load of bollocks to portray this as not for what it is, So our goal was to show the light and the dark, and also hopefully show that even the dark are just people who maybe have gone through trauma but haven't had the breaks or haven't had the right people around them to help them to heal, So we hope we show all sides of it in an honest light. I think it's very authentic, the film, to that area, and not shy away from anything, but show it for its true self, and to tell a film with hope. I think that's all I'm interested in, is like authenticity, small stories with big hearts maybe, and just something that the audience can come away from feeling hope. Hopefully when young people watch it, they can come away feeling like they have a future or something like that, or maybe foster kids or people of similar backgrounds to Christy, most importantly, to feel represented and to feel that they can have a future. And I think that's such an important.
Yeah, and I think obviously a key theme as well is, this, not toxic masculinity always, but just an inability perhaps for some young men to be able to express themselves. And, it's not shying away from the fact that they have been through trauma. I think that's particularly in the case of Shane, his brother. Yeah. Was probably the sort of most conflicted character in the whole thing. And you're thinking, why is he pushing away his brother? Why is he not protecting him more? But he's going through his own, facing up to his demons. So there's a real sort of complexity and nuance there. But ultimately it seems to be, tapping into this idea that young men need to be able to talk about their feelings in order to move forward. Yeah,
100%. And I've been Shane's biggest defender through the development writing process, because even though he may come across like, for want of the better word, a dickhead to his brother, he's only trying to help him in the way he knows. When he was a teenager, social workers were trying to put him in a foster house. It's like that's what he knows, but his mask is to not talk, not talk to his partner, not talk to people. And so he's just assuming that this is the right thing. He's assuming that it's the right thing for everyone, not just Christy, but his family and stuff like that. But it takes them to face up to their demons or their trauma to be able to heal and talk to each other. And the women in the film, probably the most emotionally intelligent in the film, trying not to force it. They're like, the lads need to figure their shit out for themselves, but they do help along the way. I think it's a story about men trying to sort their shit out, but there's some strong female characters helping them, guide them along the way. Just a little push. Come on, lads. But they get there, and communicating is everything. Even the smallest bit of opening up can do so much to these men. I think that's something that's resonated with a lot of men who've seen the film as well. That's just like my brother, we don't talk. And I think that's a universal thing.
Yeah, and working with the actor that plays Shane, was that also, you know, quite like a fulfilling journey that you follow with him, you know? And obviously I don't want to kind of spoil the ending, but, you know, perhaps there are other films and other stories where you don't get that trajectory and you don't get that sort of progress, but it's actually, maybe that's the positivity and that's the optimism, that actually, even if people have come from these tough backgrounds and have suffered trauma, you don't necessarily have to take that with you your whole life.
Exactly. And I hope, looking at Christy and looking at Shane, being through the same trauma, but being through it at different ages in their childhood. So being through it, like Christy doesn't even remember what happened, whereas Shane remembers and has blocked it out. So like two kids dealing with the same trauma in very different ways has turned them into very different people, and they have to solve it in different ways. I never thought about it like that before. It's good that we showed both sides of those things. I think it represents, two people with the same traumas going through it in different ways, and that's, I think, a lot of people. But Shane, Diarmuid Noyes, who plays Shane, he's such an incredible actor. He's a very experienced actor now, so he needed to do the work, and we did actor workshops, and we sent him back through his trauma, back through his timeline, his character's timeline, and it was heavy going for him, you know. And you were right in saying that he probably is the character who suffered the most, because he was of age when all this stuff happened, and he had to take on a lot of responsibility as a teenager. So he had to, and he's an actor who really goes there, you know, so like he had to look after himself, and I think his performance is amazing for the work he put in, like, you know. And
obviously the fact that you had a background working in music videos, you know, it seems to make sense. You know, that amazing one for Hosier's Take Me to Church. But how did that maybe feed into your approach as a filmmaker, kind of on a more like technical level, but also, you know, the role that music plays in the film? And as you say, alongside community, music is also maybe a way for people to sort of access different parts of themselves, to build their self-confidence, to be able to face their emotions, to talk. Absolutely. And when you look at the Cabin Studios, like, who most of our cast come from, a lot of their lyrics and stuff is all about having a future, going for and how to express themselves, and positivity, and helping them, you know, talking through what they need to talk through and stuff like that. And Gary, who runs that, if he sees one of those kids struggling, he'll get them in the booth, he'll get them writing about it, you know. And it's, creativity is such a healer as well. And going back to the music, I think in the sound mix especially, we had lots of discussions about maybe some people wanted the music more subtle, and I think the music is quite front and center in the film, both the score but also the music in it and stuff like that. And a lot of it's composed by the people within the film. It's so important to me, and it was so important that the music is there, you know. It's like, as I said, I come from music videos, and I think I learned how to write these films in music videos, you know. I never went to film school. I kind of, after writing the film with Alan, writing the story with Alan, it's kind of like, where did I learn to write films? But it was true music videos, and like the Hosier videos, a little short film, essentially, like learning how to structure things through just making these music videos, but also learning the power a song can have on telling a story is like, was huge. And it does feel like Irish cinema's having a bit of a moment. Is that something you kind of agree with, or is that something I don't know? Just like all the actors, you know, like, and you've even worked with Barry Keoghan before. Was it, you know, like seeing his meteoric rise, but also just, you know, more generally, like, does that feel like there's something happening in the air? Yeah, of course, and there's a lot of support for filmmakers in Ireland. There's so much funding schemes, not just for short films or whatever, but just for incubators to help people write and stuff like that. It's more than other places, you know. And obviously the success of Quiet Girl, Kneecap, whatever, is driving this, but it's been there. And it's a great place, and it's a small pond over there. Like, we all know each other, we all support each other. It's a really lovely place, and the world always seems to keep their eye on what's going on in Ireland. So yeah, it's a good place to make films. And just very quickly, finally, having a film here at the Berlinale, what does that mean to you? And I know you've got all the kids coming over, and I believe they're even going to do a rap. Is that right? Keep that in. Well, it's a surprise. This will probably not go out before. Yeah, they will. They can't not. They're here. It means everything to me. It's exciting. It's exciting that everyone can be here to share it. It's been a long journey that we've all been on together. So to be here is just... finally. It's amazing. When people walk out that cinema, what do you want them to feel? Proud
proud in themselves, and like that's been so important to me. Like, get those kids on the red carpet because it's their moment and they deserve to be here. Like, you know, there's no like imposter syndrome. It's like, you are here, you know, and you deserve to be here more than anybody, you know. It's like, and that could be any kid, like, you know. So yeah.
100%. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Thank you
that with me.
very much.
Huge congratulations on the film. I really
It's good
enjoyed
fun.
presenting it here in Berlin. Thank
watching.
you.